Okay, as part of the 1937 school's folklore study, Clonoulty School was visited and all the stuff was recorded on it, and we have it here. I got it in the library lately. The Quirkes are mentioned in it a good bit, and today we have Josie Quirke, whose sister-in-law Josephine Quirke, who later became Josephine Brown from Lisskeveen, writes in it about old cures. Josie's father-in-law Paul Quirke and Josie's mother-in-law Margaret Maloney are also mentioned in the book here, in this book here. And I'd like to welcome Josie here today, and we're going to now interview you digitally, Josie, and we're also going to introduce you to your grandchildren, Elena and Andrea, who are going to join us to be on record as well forever. So thank you very much for coming today. And on either side of you have your grandchildren. You have Andrea.
That's right.
Andrea, what age are you?
7.
7. And have you anything to say about your granny?
This is really nice.
Okay. And Elena, what age are you now?
11.
11. And you're in 5th class. Yeah. What do you think your granny?
She tells really good stories.
Good stories?
So, yeah, she's a good storyteller.
A storyteller about times past?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your maiden name and when were you born?
I was born on the 3rd of March 1929.
1929.
And my maiden name is Josephine Quirke, a Fian.
Fian. Okay. Yeah. Okay, the Fians. And what's your farthest back memory? What can you remember when you were the youngest?
I remember coming to school to Clonoulty, and on the first day my father brought my sister Mary and myself. I was 6 and she was 5, and we brought over to Hammersley, and Joseph Hammersley took each of us by the hand and brought us into school. Now Joseph would be Joe's grandfather.
Okay.
Now I don't know why that arrangement was, but that's what happened. And we were taken upstairs to the what is now the hall, was the old school, and the teacher was Miss Mary Ann McCormack, who later became Mrs. Heffernan.
Mrs. Heffernan.
The Lord Mayor's mother.
Oh, Paddy Heffernan's mother. Oh, yes.
Right. And she was a very good teacher and a very nice person. And there were about 27 or 30 children in that room upstairs, and we were taught Irish, English, arithmetic, catechism, and sewing, and singing. She taught us all the hymns that we still know to this day, and she taught us Math and Latin. And we used to go across to the church once a month for practice.
Okay. As a child, as a very young person, can you remember some of the games? Like the girls here at break time would be playing Ting Tang Tummy, and what are the other games you play, girls? Tag and Rounders and all those type of games. What games did you play?
We played Rounders, and we also played with the slate. I chose on to squares on the
Okay. Yes, what's this called? Hopscotch, is it hopscotch?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Okay, and growing up, what was it like? What's your background? Were the Fians farmers?
Yes.
Okay. Will you talk a little bit about farming when you were young?
Yeah, they went on every day. The cows had to be milked and the calves had to be fed and the animals had to be harvested. And
were you expected to do bits?
well, as a child I helped with feeding the calves. But then as I grew older, we used to milk the cows by hand into buckets.
Into buckets?
No electricity or no running water in those days.
Okay, okay. You didn't go far to meet a husband?
Oh, 2 miles.
2 miles?
Yeah. But I travelled 6,000 miles in between.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where did you travel to?
California.
Okay, how long did you live in California?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Working, was it?
I was working for the Catholic Church
Okay.
in Los Angeles.
Okay. What was that like?
Oh, it was lovely.
Okay.
It was a great experience that I wouldn't have missed. I was in hotel management in Dublin for 8 years before that, and there was no hope of promotion because there was nobody getting married and nobody dying or retiring, so I moved to California with the intention of doing hotel business. But anyway, I met a Catholic priest and he asked me to work for him, so I spent 8 years there.
Okay. How did you get to California?
I flew from Shannon
Shannon to?
to New York. But there was quite a gathering in Shannon because I went there with my senior English from Rossmore. He was returning to Australia and he was visiting the same priest that I was going out to work with. So we travelled together. It took us a week to get there.
A week?
A week because we left Shannon on St. Patrick's morning, 1955. And we got to New York and a feathered man met us at the airport and he took us to the parade on Fifth Avenue.
Oh, lovely.
And when we got there, this man, he asked a policeman to take us across, that we had just come from Shannon to see the parade. So he said, when Roscommon has passed by now, I'll take you across. And he put his hand up and stopped the parade.
He stopped County Roscommon.
And took the two of us across.
So the whole of New York was held up for you.
Well done.
Well done, well done. Was it hard? Was growing up here as a very young person, say Andrea's age, was it hard? Was it tough?
No, everybody was the same. We all had, nobody had anything, but we had everything. We had happiness and great fun as children playing and great for visiting. The friends and the cousins would come and visit. And so we had good times.
Good times,
And
okay.
we decided to Thurles then to learn piano lessons on a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where you got your love of music.
Yeah, oh yes.
Okay. Were there ever any local fairs? Do you remember the local fairs in Thurles, or I suppose
I do.
there weren't any more local ones, were there? Just
No,
could have been.
no.
Okay. Do you remember being inside there at the fair
White
then?
was the nearest.
White.
Yeah.
Do you remember being at the fairs in White?
No, but I was at school in Thurles,
Oh, you were in school in Thurles.
and when we'd be coming out at lunchtime or in the afternoon, we had to come up through the fair. It was held on the square.
Yes. What was that like? What were the fairs like?
Well, of course, a lot of animals and a lot of muck around the place.
When was the fair held?
On the first Tuesday of every month.
First Tuesday of every month. Okay. Right. And in terms of the locality here, have things changed much? Do you see many changes?
No, there are a lot of changes for the better.
What's better, Josie? What's better now?
Well, all the homes are modernised and they have running water and electricity, and that brings in a lot of modern conveniences to the families.
Okay.
And everybody's got a car.
Yes.
Whereas we had a car as the children, and but we did a lot of cycling as well.
Okay.
We used to come to school here in bicycles, and there was time there was 3 of us girls coming to school, and a neighbour of ours, John Ryan of the Hawk, he would do his shopping. At the time we'd be left out of school, and he'd take us home on the bicycle, one on the carrier, one on the crossbar, and one on the handlebar.
Oh Lord. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'd stop on the way, as children then, we'd stop. There was a shoemaker over on the road between here and the garage, and we'd stop there and chat to that man, and they always be looking for a drink of water.
Okay. Okay. A lot of your family have settled around here.
They have.
Your daughter-in-law is in teaching here in the school,
That's
and
right.
your kids, a lot of your kids go to school here.
That's right.
Do you like the fact that a lot of your family are settled around the place?
I do, yes. I'm very proud of the fact that they stayed in Clonoulty and the parish.
Okay. Have you any stories or any folklore from around the area that you can remember? Stories that your parents might have told you about ghosts or, I don't know, if anything at all back along that you can remember that might be worth recording for this bit?
Yeah, but my father used to tell a story about he played cards at his shop nearby, Maloney's was, of Tucker. And this night he was walking home and he would get into the field at the Hawk to cross instead of going down the road. So he couldn't find the gate. So it took him hours to come in daylight before he could find. So he held it because the shows.
Just be sure that he could, that he shouldn't have crossed the gate.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have crossed the field, he should have gone the proper way.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Pishogues.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other stories of, black and tan times or anything like that went on? Maybe.
Yeah, well, there was just one. Paddy Canaan of Upperchurch was a publican, and of course he had a butchering business and he had a van that delivered meat every Saturday. So he used to call to Rathcommon in one of his houses. So this day he was down, he had a chat with my father, and he had a valuable horse up in Upperchurch, and they threatened to shoot the horse. So he asked my father if he could bring the horse down to Rathcommon. Now, Paddy Canaan would be different politics to my father.
Okay.
My father was a Fianna Fáil County Councillor at some stage. But anyway, the horse was brought down, and the horse was shot that night in Rathcommon.
Shot by?
Oh, I suppose some of his enemies.
Oh, so are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. Your dad was, your father was a county councillor?
He was, Dan
Okay.
Feehan, yeah.
Dan?
Dan Feehan.
Dan Feehan. What did that involve? Can you remember what that
He
involved?
used to go to a meeting once a month to the county council offices.
In Thurles?
Clonmel. Yeah. And then there'd be different meetings in between that he'd attend. And he went monthly to Clonmel.
Okay. Has your home place now, down in Ballycamas, any history? Is there any historical event, or is there anything going with your... How old is your farmhouse? Do you remember it being built?
Oh gosh, no.
That was built before your...
It's 120 years old.
Oh, it's 120 years old. So who owned the place before?
A man by the name of Dan Quirke.
Dan Quirke.
And he came from Mahallow.
Okay.
And he married into Anne Ryan. And Anne Ryan was a niece to, a grandniece to Maid Ryan that was deported to Australia.
Oh yes. Do you remember any local traditions or important local history?
Well, the traditions, one of them is on May Eve, you take out the Easter water.
Yes.
And the animals on the fields.
All right.
And I sent some to my sons and their daughter-in-laws.
They're made go off, are they?
Each year.
Yeah.
And the Palm Sunday.
The Pam and Pam Sunday. What's the purpose of the holy water?
Well, it's to keep evil away. And the palm, they say, is very good to keep fire.
Yes.
Now, we had a fire 16 years ago, and it started out in the workshop. Phil had been welding, and I suppose spark caused the fire, but I knew it was an oil tank years, and there was quite an explosion, and it destroyed our milking parlour, and we lost 14 calves in it, and the fire came as far as the laundry, which was next to the kitchen, and the palm was in the laundry.
Very good. So,
I believe that the palm saved us.
is there anything that you would have liked to have said about your life that you'd like to put on camera for forever?
Yeah, well, I suppose I had a very good life, very good upbringing, very enjoyable. I went to school to Thurles after leaving Clonoulty, and went from there to the Clowns Hotel in Dublin in the hotel management for 8 years. I went from there to California.
Yes.
Came back after 8 years and married a man 2 miles down the road from my home.
How long was it? You came back after 8 years. Did you know your husband then, before?
I knew him 16 years when we got married.
So you had a 16-year relationship after you came back from Australia?
Yes, but it wasn't like one phone call or anything like today. There was an occasional letter.
Okay.
But you might ask me why it took Phil so long. He was one of 11.
One of 11, a family of 11.
And they all actually looked after and educated.
Okay.
Before his turn came.
Okay. So he had to wait.
He had to
And could he not have got married? No.
Oh, he could have. In fact, I wanted him to come out to California, but he said he wasn't only educated for farming.
Okay, just farming. Well, I think we're all glad that he decided to stay,
Thank you.
and we have you here still, and we have your descendants,
That's
all the lads and all your grandchildren,
grand.
because it's a pleasure to have them all here in the school.
Thank you.
Josie, thank you very much for doing this.
You're welcome.
Okay.